In the early 20th century, over 20 years before Alfred Watkins made his discovery of leys and published his book The Old Straight Track, famous archaeologist Sir Norman Lockyer noticed that Stonehenge, Old Sarum, Salisbury Cathedral and Clearbury Camp are in alignment. He also noticed that Stonehenge, Old Sarum and Grovely Castle lie at the angles of an equilateral triangle. It was later found that the Stonehenge Salisbury ley extends to Frankenbury Camp to the south. The area also seems to attract UFOs. In 1967, a complete circle of red lights was seen to hover one night over Salisbury, the bottom of the object on a level with the tip of the cathedral spire. In 1957, a cylindrical object was seen travelling east to west across the adjacent Oddstock Down, and in 1967 a UFO was seen from the A338 about a mile south of Salisbury.
A worn-down tumulus is the starting point. From here the line travels towards Stonehenge. The next point is the gigantic earthwork of Old Sarum. It's an ancient hill fort. The ley then passes to the side of the spire of the present cathedral and continues across country through two more Iron Age hill forts for a total length of 18 miles.
Alfred Watkins, in The Old Straight Track, mentions that the alignment runs northwards from Stonehenge to Tan Hill, the highest hill on the Wiltshire Downs. Tan in Welsh means fire, and he surmised a beacon point. There is also a time-slip story associated with the hill. Around 1962 or 1963, a schoolgirl of about 12 took her dog for a walk up on the Downs, near the Wansdyke on Tan Hill. She eventually came across a house, and thinking she might see the occupants and say hello, she walked into the yard. Chickens were scratching around, and a horse poked its head over the stable half-door, but she couldn't see anybody about. When she returned home, she mentioned the place to her friends, but to her surprise no one knew where she could be talking about, not even the oldest shepherds. Confused, she later went back to search for the house, but couldn't really find it. Soon her experience was put to the back of her mind, but a few years later she had a copy of an old book, and there, in one of the illustrations, was the house she had seen, which had once existed up on the hill. The ley then goes to Stonehenge. Alfred Watkins, in The Old Straight Track, mentions two other alignments found by Sir Norman Lockyer passing through Stonehenge. One of them goes through Winterbourne Camp, Tumuli on Inkpen Bacon, formerly Beacon Farm, Shears Inn, a crossroads, Sidbury Camp, southeast edge, the Avenue, Friar's Heel Stone and Slaughter Stone at Stonehenge, a large barrow at 1/4 of a mile, a small barrow at 3/4 of a mile from Stonehenge Centre, Stapleford Churchyard, southeast edge of Grovely Castle, southeast edge of Castle Ditches, and across Dorsetshire to Cerne Abbas, to Punknall Beacon, a 434-foot hill on the coast. This is the Midsummer Day sunrise alignment. This is also one of the lines of the isosceles triangle found by Sir Norman Lockyer. The second ley found by him goes through Tinhead Hill, over 700 feet, Tilshead Lodge, 3 small barrows in alignment, 1 1/4 miles from the centre, a large barrow 3/4 of a mile from the centre of Stonehenge, and also exactly through the 2 smaller untrimmed sarsen stones lying near the vallum, as in Lockyer's Stonehenge, page 88. A tumulus 1/2 mile from the centre, and earthworks near Stockport and on Idminstone Down. This is a May sunset, or November sunrise alignment. From Stonehenge, the ley runs to Old Sarum, Iron Age hill fort, Roman fort, Norman castle, and old cathedral site.
Site of the old cathedral at Old Sarum. Eileen is dowsing the width of the ley from Old Sarum to Salisbury Cathedral.
I'm in line with the spire. And they're swinging round to point at the spire. And it's in a line and it's holding with the spire. And now I'm falling off it.
Allowing for the fact that she was walking downhill, I would judge the lay to be about 15 paces wide.
St Thomas's Parish Church in Salisbury is to the north of the cathedral, and the Stonehenge to Old Sarum lay passes through its west end, continuing to the east end of the cathedral. This point near St Thomas's seems to be a lay centre, a meeting point of lays, and another of its lays goes through the castle ditches site, passing through the west end of the cathedral. The Castle Ditches lay, coming south, goes through one of the twin barrows east of Enford, a tumulus east of Figoldine, high post crossroads on the A345 southeast of Great Durnford, a towered church in the north of Salisbury, a roundabout by the railway bridge, and St Thomas's Centre, the west end of the cathedral, a junction of Grimm's Ditch, 2 tracks and a boundary. Then it touches the edge of Castle Ditches and finally going to Whitsbury Church. A third lay going through this centre goes through a crossroads with a Roman road, a crossroads at Pitton, St Thomas's Centre, a multi-junction under the railway bridge, Neal's Barrow and a multi-junction at Hare Warren. Measuring the Old Sarum to Stonehenge lay from just outside the parish office at St Thomas's House near St Thomas's Church, Salisbury. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 paces wide. Walking along the Stonehenge to Old Sarum lay, by St Thomas's Church, looking for the lay centre. By the west door of the church. The view of Salisbury Cathedral from Old Sarum. The original cathedral was founded in the 11th century by St Osmond. From the Norman ruins of the keep on Old Sarum, a view down the lay shows the next 2 markers, Salisbury Cathedral and Clearbury Ring, in alignment. Early in the 13th century, the site of the cathedral was moved as a result of friction between the clergy and secular authorities and a lack of water. Legend has it that Bishop Poore had a vision of the Blessed Virgin, who told him to build at a certain place. He didn't know where this was to be until informed by local people. So Salisbury Cathedral came to be founded on its present site. It's dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary. The lay passes marginally to the east of the outstanding 404-foot spire, which, according to the late Guy Underwood, marks an exceptionally powerful blind spring. On a number of occasions a fire alarm has resulted from the appearance of dense clouds of flying ants swarming around the spire, attracted like certain other creatures to blind springs, which were taken for smoke. John Michel, in his book The View Over Atlantis, writes, "The distance between the centres of Stonehenge and Old Sarum is precisely 6 miles. From Old Sarum to the chapter house of Salisbury is 3,520 yards, 2 miles, and the line then passes over the site of an old chapel, 440 yards further on, continuing to the corner of Clearbury Ring, exactly 3 miles beyond the chapel. The whole line from Stonehenge to Clearbury is thus 19,800, 660 by 30 yards in length, exactly 30 times the length, 1,980 feet, of the twin circles over Glastonbury. Evidently, the unit of measurement used here is the furlong, 220 yards, the whole line from Stonehenge to Clearbury measuring 90 furlongs. The line crosses the old well in the centre of Old Sarum, and its course is clearly indicated in the earthworks. Eileen Roche, present at an evensong service at Salisbury Cathedral some years ago, noticed that the energy felt there increased perceptibly during the singing, especially when the bass notes were heard. This could be one reason for the subconscious sighting of places of worship on leys, for the boosting of the network's energy with sound. It may not be the only reason, however. The actual worship may also be important, regardless of particular doctrines, as Quaker meeting houses have also been subconsciously sighted on leys, and music is not a part of their practice. Measuring the ley from Old Sarum to Stonehenge through the east end of Salisbury Cathedral, just after sunrise. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 paces wide. Measuring the ley later. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's now only 15 paces wide, exactly the same as Eileen measured it at Old Sarum. Measuring the castle ditches to the cathedral ley at the west end of the cathedral. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 paces wide, nearly to the west end of the cathedral. Measuring the castle ditches to the cathedral ley at the west end of Salisbury Cathedral sometime after. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This ley too has shrunk to 15 paces. This is something originally found at Yulegreave in Derbyshire, where leys, whatever their width, seem to double it for a short time at sunrise and sunset. The 100-pace E-line, which runs from Leysdown on the Isle of Sheppey through the Cerne Giant to Cape Cornwall, was found to increase to a massive 212 paces at sunset, measured at South Holmwood Church in Surrey. From here the line goes to Clearbury Ring, a single-ditch hill fort, visible for many miles as a clump. The ley then passes through the site of Breamore Priory to reach Frankenbury Camp Hill Fort.